How you doing, Mechanicsville crew? We're here at Kernersville. We're at the downtown car show. We're talking to Dillan.
Yes, sir.
What's your full name, Dillan?
Dillan Barnett.
Dillan Barnett. Dillan
I'm out of
Barnett.
Kernersville too.
All right, cool. Dillan is the builder of this cool hot rod right here. This is what we call a rat rod.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Talk us through the car here, Dillan.
That's a 29 Model A sedan sitting on a custom channeled chassis. It's got a 52 model Ford flathead V8, all Ford Model A running gear. It's just a old rat rod to cruise around in. It's basically all original parts. It's just been chopped up and put down on a custom frame. So,
yeah. Where did you source the car, the original chassis from?
The chassis was hand built, and then the cab was got out of a field and just chopped and put down on there. And basically, I acquired the car and then had to finish the car, but it was kind of somewhat put together when I got it. So,
okay. All right. I heard you mention something there, Dillan, about channeling a body.
Yep.
Can you just go over what channeling is for our viewers here?
So you just get like 2x4 tubing on the frame, and then basically you just get your geometry right, of course, and you just weld it up, and it's Z'd up here, notched and everything for your suspension. And then, like I said, the frame goes right along the chassis there, and then the cab, I guess the body is set down onto the mounts. You can take this body off in no time, other than the wiring, but it will come right off with ease.
Yes, sir. So
it utilizes the factory fuel tank of the sedan. It's a 3-speed manual transmission, and it's got a working e-brake. It's got some old Jeep seats in it. They're easy folding up and just folding forward. So.
Yes, sir. So the channeling actually takes the body, which normally sits on top of the frame.
Yes, sir.
And envelops the frame inside of the body. Is that correct?
Yes, that is.
All right. So normally when the body is sitting on top of the frame, you don't see the drive shaft and the banjo of the rear end and all that.
This car is set over
It would be like really tall.
Yes.
Yeah.
This car is set where the drive line is in the car,
Yes,
so, and I left it open, that way you can see everything, So the torque tube drive line there, that's like an armrest. Everybody asks if my arm gets cut up. No, because the shaft is inside of that tube.
Yeah, it's enveloped inside of the tube there, yes.
And all this is shortened down from factory. It would be a lot longer.
Yes,
so,
sir. Yes, sir.
But with it being in this rat rod, you got to chop it up and make it fit. So that's why the body sits so low. We're able to put our hands over top of the cab here, because it is sitting over top of the frame, basically. So and that's why it sits so low on the ground. Normally people put airbags and lower them down, but this one's got coilovers, and then the original Model A front axle. So,
yes, sir. All right, we're gonna kind of like work our way forward.
Okay.
And you said this was an original
Model A rear
end.
Yes, it is.
And it has the banjo, what's called a banjo, and then the axle tubes are bolted to it.
Yep.
And then you said this is a torque tube.
Yes, a torque tube drive line.
Which the drive shaft is actually encased inside of the tube.
Yep, it is.
And connected to the transmission. All right, let's move up front. Okay, and what's significant about this engine here?
Ford made them from, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was 32 to 54 is when they built these motors. They're flathead V8s. They had the flathead inline 4 and inline 8 cylinders and 6, but then they had the flathead V8s. And this one's a 52 8BA, and it's got a factory carb. And just basically, it's just, other than the headers, it's factory. So
yes,
and it runs good. So.
And what makes these engines unique is what you're pointing out here is the flathead.
Yes. The valves are inside of the block.
Yes,
so
sir.
Everything's machined down inside, and the flathead. The only thing the cylinder head is it encases the spark plugs. That's
correct.
it.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, the valves. It's a crazy engine. It's awesome. They run really good. It's got about 15 horsepower, and it just purs along. So
yes, sir.
It doesn't take much to move this car anyway, because it's so light.
Yeah, so light. And then we move up to the front. Let's talk about the front.
Suicide spring over front axle. Model A. It's got all Model A brakes, disc brakes. They're all brand new. Everything was done new. You know, it's new old stock. And then, like I said, you have your Model A, you know, headlights. I put LEDs in there and
Yes, sir.
aluminum radiator, shocks.
Yeah.
And then it's, go ahead.
I know we were talking earlier
About the bow.
I-beam.
Yes, sir.
This is an I-beam front axle, solid
Yep,
front axle.
it is.
I asked you if you had arched it, but you said this is a stock
yep,
axle.
it's
Yes, sir.
factory. Yes, it is.
Okay.
So it's got the factory arch to it.
Okay.
And
some people arch them to lower the vehicle down.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Or raise them, either one they want
Yeah.
to do. But this one, a lot of people drill them too. They'll drill holes in them to do like just a different look, and then and plug it, with either welds or tubes, and that way it looks like it's got holes in it. So.
Okay. And we're going to move over here and talk about the steering. We have a long rod coming off of the steering box.
Yes. I'm not real sure what the steering box is in this car. It was already in it when I got it, but like I said, the steering is. A lot of people do them kind of wild, crazy, coming out of the side of the car, but this one's just, you know, it's just a normal, you know, steering box with the long shaft.
Yes.
Couple bearings and a couple tie rod ends.
Yes, sir.
And it steers the car great.
Yeah.
There's no issue with the steering, no binding, you know, grabbing or anything. It floats the road really well.
Yeah.
So
I love the
eagle.
The eagle on the the radiator cap there.
That was there, like I said, whenever I got the car. But those are normally the where the thermostat would go on a factory Model A.
Yes, sir. It had a glass and a bulb in it.
With the mercury in it.
Yeah.
So, but that is just a hood piece.
Yeah.
I've got one on my other truck as well.
Yeah. Now you were telling me something interesting about the rear tires. Let's go back here and look at the rear tires.
The rear wheels are a factory Model A wheel. They're a 19-inch wheel with a factory tire on it, tire size. Pulled these out of a field, and they are just the original color, no paint. They are made to look like that. I mean, you know, they've just the patina of them, you know. So I threw them on there, threw new tubes in them, and been running them ever since.
Right.
So, and they do great.
What our viewers will see is this is a true spoke wheel.
It is.
The spokes are there to actually support the weight of the car. Also, we'll see that this has wooden bows in the top of the car.
It does.
This was during the transition time from carriage work, horse and carriage stuff, over to the automobile work, and they still carried over some carriage work into these cars. They used these wooden bows to support the top.
If you look in here, if there was any shots in here, this has still got the original wood
fillers in the door posts.
It's the original wood. To my knowledge, I don't know. It could have been replaced.
Yeah, because
back in the day,
your carriage workers then moved into what we call a modern day mechanic. That they became the mechanics.
It is. And it does have a full top for it that buttons on there, and that's for whenever it gets hot. You know, I don't want to be out in the sun all the time.
Right on.
But it's just a fun, low, loud car. You know, you go around and everybody always wants to stop and talk, take pictures, and video. And I'm fine. I'm totally fine with that.
Well, Dillan, we certainly applaud you for the handiwork that you've done on this vehicle. We thank you for talking to Mechanicsville today.
Yeah.
And we appreciate you being part of the Mechanicsville Nation.
Yeah, thank you.
Remember, like and subscribe, theMechanicsville.com. If you need to reach out to us at theMechanicsville@gmail.com. See ya.